What's going on, traders? Andrew O'Connell with Pristine Capital coming at you with yet another market recap video. It is June 8th, 2021. Please go ahead and click the like button on this video and subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed this content, and I will continue to make it for you. Today, we're going to be talking about the price action in the headline indices. We'll go under the hood and check out our sectors and style factors. We'll talk about some of my trades for the day and really what my strategy was. And we'll go through some options order flow. Before we get into all that, quick risk disclaimer: nothing in this video should be construed as investment advice or recommendations. Please follow your own trading plan and your own risk parameters. And last but certainly not least, do not YOLO your entire account into any one of my trades. All right, let's jump in here. So let's take a look. S&P 500 box scores for today. We have the S&P 500 as measured by the SPY up 0.02%, so essentially flat on the day. We had the Nasdaq QQQ finish up 0.05%. We had the IWM small caps, nice rally leading the way, up 1.06%. And then we have the Dow Jones down 0.07%. So essentially, like the way today's price action went was we had a nice gap higher, and then we ended up running to the upside quickly in the morning. And then throughout the day, we kind of just had some distribution. We had some selling. And you can see here we went red throughout the session. You can see we tagged this monthly value area high. And let's actually check this out. So you can see we pushed into this monthly value area high. And this is where I've been doing this a lot more, making sure to get off the desk for an hour at lunch is so important, because I essentially left the desk. The market was maybe like flat. It was doing nothing. I come back to the desk and the market is still essentially flat, but I find out that there was like a 30 basis point little drop in between. So that's the kind of thing where like around lunchtime, nothing good ever happens. So I think it's super important to take a lunch. I used to never really get off the desk for lunch. I would just stay on. And trading in that like 11:30 to 1:30 time period is just horrible. So yeah, we ended up putting in a slight red candle. And one thing that I had mentioned to everyone in my community, the Pristine Capital trading community, yesterday, I posted this at night, was, hey, we have this inflation data that's coming out Thursday. And if you've been following these economic data points as they've been coming out for the past couple months, the inflation data really has been market moving. There's been a couple days where, oh my gosh, above expected inflation, and tech sells off, the Nasdaq, like it really causes turbulence in the market. And then conversely, if you just get the happy path where we're right in line with expectations, you can get a nice move to the upside. But I came into today's session with the mentality of, okay, we've had a really nice active sequence from this low that occurred on May 19th up until today. I don't really want to be greedy here. Here we're above the monthly value area high, so that's great. But in terms of options exposure, I wanted to reduce a bit of that headed into this catalyst on Thursday. And then also keep in mind, we have Fed Wednesday next week. So that's another big catalyst. So up here, it's kind of like markets at all-time highs. We're approaching a very weak point in terms of seasonality. We could certainly head higher to maybe like this 42.60, but I just want to make sure that I'm locking in some of what, we gained over the course of the last, 2 or 3 weeks. So yeah, market, didn't really move all that much, down 0.05%. I would imagine tomorrow we could see something very similar where, maybe we get a gap higher, but then we just kind of run everyone's stops and just kind of, meander around. Maybe there's some more profit taking ahead of the inflation data on Thursday. But yeah, overall pretty quiet day for this headline index. Let's jump over here to the Nasdaq. Nasdaq was also flat on the day. Same exact story here. You can see the Nasdaq went on a tear in the morning. And I'm so glad that I sold some into this strength here. Russell finished up on the day, and you can see the Russell is approaching these prior all-time highs, and it looks like, did it close at a new all-time high? No, it didn't close at a new all-time high. We're literally like right on the cusp. So let's actually look at the weekly chart. And yeah, the weekly chart, this thing has been consolidating for a while. So if the market is to really take that next leg higher, I would imagine the small caps, could really lead the charge here. So we'll have to see. And then we have the Dow Jones, which has a lot of these inflation-sensitive assets. And surprisingly enough, this was the weakest index today. So the vibe that I'm getting is the market is front-running this inflation data that's coming out on Thursday, and the market thinks the data is going to be benign. Or the market thinks, hey, maybe we got a hot inflation print, but our expectation moving forward is that the inflation is not going to get out of control. So, yeah, Dow Jones down 0.12% is measured by these YM futures. All right, so let's jump in here. We'll look at our market breadth. Market breadth, you can see 2 out of the 4 indices were positive. We had the small cap 68% advancers and the S&P 500 57% advancers. The Qs were very positive early on in the session, and you can see there was profit taking in the Qs, profit taking in the Dow. Going over to our heat map, one name that really sticks out, Amazon. Amazon was up 2.07%. You can see the energy names were positive as well. And I see industrials are positive. Let's take a look at Amazon. Amazon, yeah, so nice move to the upside. But Amazon, it's very tough to trust these moves. With this stock, for the past 6 to 9 months, it's been better to buy this thing on the extreme dips and then sell into the strength rather than trying to buy when this thing, is moving higher. But yeah, we'll have to see. Definitely a nice move today, and it really stood out in terms of the relative strength. So I'll probably be watching Amazon a little bit more closely. Let's zoom out to the weekly here. And yeah, you can see, we've been range bound since last August. Wow, so it's going to be almost a year where we've been sitting tight in Amazon. And then Tesla, you can see, went from, this stock was up, over 2% at one point in the day and went from green to red. I actually have a short position on in Tesla. It's not anything crazy, but yeah, for me, I'm glad that this one put in the reversal. We'll see how it goes though. And then let's see. Okay, so we'll pull up our sectors here. Sectors, the SPAC ETF is now the top sector. So think about that. Does that usually happen at the beginning of a rally or at the end of a rally? Because what I'm seeing in the markets via the price action and also via Twitter is, the short squeezes are in vogue. A lot of these names that are super beaten down are in vogue. Companies that really don't have revenues or profits are back in vogue, which is awesome. I've been participating in that. But at the same time, typically when everyone's getting really giddy over these names, that it's like, this one lost 60% this year, but it made a 30% move off the lows. And meanwhile, like, it's still like 50% off the highs, but people are just looking at that very short-term time frame. A lot of times that happens when, we're towards the end of a move. So I just want to be cognizant of that. It's not up to me to say, the market's going to stop going up now, but it's just something where I'm like, okay, let me be realistic here. A lot of times, once everyone gets really giddy over these names, the market tends to reverse. So we'll have to see, but yeah, you can see SPAC ETF is up 2.33%. Yeah, that was our best performer on the day. And yeah, you can see energy also did very well, up 0.86%. Some of the laggards, let's see what those were. So we had gold miners down 1.42%. We had the blockchain ETF down 2.93%. And we had, I see utilities were down 0.85%. And taking a look at our style factors here, cyclicals were up 0.99%. And then, so that was the leader. And then the laggard here, you can see, was international value. Yeah, everything else was kind of, flat, slightly red or slightly green. So let's jump into some of my trades for the day. And let's pull these up. So we'll go, yeah, so coming in, I was like, I definitely want to reduce some of my options exposure. And so right off the open, this was at 936, 940, 959, 1002. So coming into today, I was like, okay, I'm going to resist the temptation to throw on like a gazillion trades because I know that is a huge temptation when the market gaps up. So I closed out, I had a Google call spread for June 11th, which is this Friday. It was the 2420 by 2430 call spread. I closed that out for $8.95. I'd paid $3.70 for that. So that was an over 100% winner. So that was awesome. I was really stoked about that. And there's a key nuance here. So with these call spreads, a lot of times I'll put them on for $3.70. Once you're sitting here and the call spread is worth $8.95, the most you can make for the remainder of the call spread is $1.05. Whereas your downside is $8.95. So you always have to think about these as if like, would I take this trade today? And I certainly would not. $1.05 of upside and $8.95 of downside. I don't like that risk reward. So yeah, I took that off. Yeah, really nice winner there. I had a crowd iron butterfly. I closed that out. I initially put that on for a credit of 1071, closed it out for a debit of 957. So I netted positive 114 on that. I only closed out half of it. I had some February calls or some Facebook calls for July. Closed those out for 1670. I paid 1295, so that was a nice winner. And then I started taking targets. I had some skills August calls, and this was kind of me participating in those names that are putting in the trend reversals. I took a target at 380. I paid 285. And then I took another target later in the day for 340. I'd paid 285. So now I just have a little runner on in that one. I'm down to the remaining 20% of that position. Microsoft closed it out for essentially a scratch, but a small winner. Closed out for 617. I'd paid $6. And really it's just like, this Microsoft trade is likely to be a winner. We'll see. But it's just, I want to pare back that options exposure. So yeah, we'll see. And then I had snap calls. These were for July 16th. They were the 65 strikes. These ones just didn't work. I closed that out for 181. I had paid 335. So that's another thing too, where when you're managing your account, you have to make sure to not just take off the winners. You really want to focus on clearing off your losers. So something like that, it's like, oh yeah, of course, I'm going to take off, this is top priority, getting out of one that I don't really have as much confidence in anymore. And then Twitter, I had a position on, just took off like one of my ads for essentially a scratch, but a very small winner. And then the only options trade that I did put on today, I put on an Airbnb 150 by 160 call spread for July. I put that one on for $3.48. So yeah, overall, I feel comfortable where it's like, okay, took some of the leverage out. And, even if we do have some sort of hiccup in the market, it's not like, oh my gosh, like all my gains are gone, that sort of thing. And then if the market continues moving higher, that's good too. Airbnb, this name is continuing to consolidate here after a really nice run in May. So I continue to like this name. See, I put on the 150 by 160 spread. And then for some common stock trades, I added a position in Cloudflare, which is ticker symbol NET. And this is something I've been doing lately, especially when I add to a position that it's already run. I feel like I'm kind of chasing it. What I'll do is I'll put it on, and it's so cool because now with common shares, there's no commissions. So I'll add to a position like in little pieces throughout the day. So I added a piece for 90 spot 56 at 1029. I said we'll likely add this throughout the session. And then I got a cheaper price a little bit later in the day. So this one, I added to my position for 89.25. And I still gave myself room to add one more time. Net, this name is definitely looking good here. So you can see Cloudflare did not close quite on the highs, but pretty close. And when you look at this weekly chart, this looks fantastic. So check this out. Been consolidating since December of 2020. And now we're reaching the upper end of that range. So yeah, if the market is going to continue higher, I think net is a good candidate, to make new highs. So we'll see. I definitely wanted to get that position on the board. And then I had some Snapchat common shares. I stopped out of those for 59.97. I paid 63.43. So that again was, tight risk management, just clipping that one right off. And then another position I entered was this Steel Dynamics, STLD. I got into this one for 65.65. And you can see this one here. This is the weekly chart. Weekly looks awesome. Yeah, this one ended up closing, nice and positive, already green on this trade. This one is, a fresh breakout to new all-time high. So we'll see if this one has more juice in it. But I also like this one because a lot of the exposures I've been putting on are growth names, whereas Steel Dynamics, this is materials. So in case the inflation sensitives come back in vogue, I have some exposure there, small foothold in the space. And then I also added to my Ethereum position. So I added to this ETHE. And I put this one on pretty much right into the close. Ethereum and all these cryptocurrencies, they've been super volatile. And yeah, you can see Ethereum, really violent. This thing was down like over 10%. I've been building a position in Ethereum. It's actually my largest position right now. And I wanted to make sure, this thing did not slip into the abyss like it looked like it might. And, you can see we ended up shaking out a lot of, I'm not even going to call them weak hands, because I think this move could have even shaken out some strong hands here. So, yeah, shook out some players. And right now we're trading green on Ethereum. So, yeah, added to my position. And then that gives me some flexibility where if we start moving to the upper end of this range, maybe I can take off what I added. Yeah, I still like Ethereum. I'm not really too phased by the price action. And then let's take a look at some options order flow. And now, I just tweeted about this a bit earlier, but I've partnered with VigTech. And VigTech, they run like a full-on suite of products for retail investors. They have a really nice platform, but really I did a demo of this VigTech options matrix. They do like a free demo, and the one thing I immediately noticed, so I used to run with Cheddarflow, and I love Cheddarflow too. They're awesome, but the one thing I realized when I started doing this demo was there's so much data that's coming into this VigTech options matrix that is not going into Cheddarflow. So it is insane where, not to hate on Cheddarflow, but I would imagine with a lot of these providers, you're not actually getting the full picture as the order flow that's coming in. And then VigTech is also cheaper. When this first happened, I reached out to one of the founders, this guy Jonathan, and I was like, where are you guys getting this data from? There's so much more in here. And he actually arranged some time to chat with me over the phone. Super nice guy, a very straight shooter. And I just really like the platform, so I partnered with them. So moving forward in these videos, we're going to be using this VigTech software rather than Cheddarflow. I think you're going to like it as well. Here I have, I'm filtered for these large orders, and we're just getting so much more insight into the options order flow that's actually going off in the market. So let's take a look at some of these orders that really stuck out. And I'm going to pull up here. Yeah, so I see we had some IWM flow. We had some Qs flow as well. And let's pull up here. Yeah, we're looking at the 500K and above. And what I'm noticing here is, you can see this DOU as well. I am noticing that there's players buying these put options for IWM. So I do think that a lot of people will be surprised if we get another leg higher in these small caps. So look at these right now. They're pretty much sitting on their perch and they're ready to shoot off. So could we get to 240? Absolutely. I think it's in the realm of possibility. And then we can take a look. This is actually pretty easy to look at it this way. You can see where a lot of the large options orders were. So this name Clove, a ton of order flow coming down for this one. Clove. I was not participating in this, but literally ripped 85% today. So that's just astounding. Whoever found their way into Clove, hats off to them. That's insane. So this one had a 36.09% short flow. So this one just crushed anyone that was short. Let's see what else we got. Fair amount of Amazon premium coming in. And that's why I definitely want to keep watching Amazon. We talked about this one earlier. Let's take a look at one more. I'm noticing a lot of flow that came in for this EWZ. Let's look at that. And this is, I believe, the Brazil ETF. I don't normally see this, which is why it's unusual. And you can see, yeah, we're trading up to 41.64. This is a little bit extended for where I would enter, but definitely putting in a nice move. And then last one we'll look at is NVIDIA. NVIDIA, insane winner. This one also is very extended. But yeah, we're starting to get some consolidation here. That about does it for this market recap video. Hope you all had an awesome trading day, and I will see you all tomorrow.